Привет, друзья! Как дела? My name is Fedor, and have you ever wondered why a word like вода can become воды, воде, воду, водой, all these different endings? Well, today you will learn the answer to that, and you will learn how to properly do that yourself. And the reason why we have all these different forms is because of cases in Russian. You might have heard that word, cases. I think that's the number one question that everybody asks me. How do I say this case properly or that case properly? Today, this is your quickest guide to understanding all about cases. Okay? And the best way to learn cases, because it's so complex, is in layers. We'll learn the first layer, understand it, know how to use it, then go to the second layer, understand it, know how to use it, then go on to the third, etc. Layer number one. What are cases? Cases show up in the form of endings of nouns, like again, вода turns into воды, воде, водой, etc. This ending is what cases do. They change the endings of nouns. And we have 6 cases in Russian: nominative, accusative, genitive, dative, instrumental, and prepositional. 6 different cases that will affect a word in different ways. Let's again put the word for water, вода, into each case. Вода for nominative, воду for accusative, воды for genitive, воде for dative, водой for instrumental, and воде for prepositional. As you can see, the word has changed into 6 different forms. That's what cases will do, and that's the 6 cases that we have in Russian. Next layer of cases is, why do we even need cases? Cases assign roles in Russian. Through cases, we understand who does the action and who's going to receive it. That's the roles in a sentence. In English, for example, if I say, people eat oranges. People eat oranges. Who does the action here? People. If I flip the order and say, oranges eat people, now it becomes a whole crazy sentence that oranges are these evil creatures that eat people. The only thing that I did was to change the order of words. Let's put it back with the people being the first word in the sentence. People eat oranges. The reason why we know who does the action of eating who is whatever comes first does the action. Here, people eat. People comes first, so people will do the action of eating. Oranges come second, and that's how we know that oranges will be eaten in the sentence in English. In Russian, this doesn't work this way. Let me put this orange back right there. In Russian, we don't understand roles of a sentence through word order. We understand them through cases. What are the roles in the sentence in Russian and in many other languages too? We have 3 major ones: subject, direct object, and indirect object. Let's make that sentence a bit longer. People eat oranges with hands, or with their hands. Subject will be whoever is doing the action. In our sentence, people eat oranges, so people will be the subject. Direct object is whatever is being directly affected by the action, or whatever the action is done upon. In our sentence, we have to find the action of eating, right? So we have to ask ourselves, what's being eaten? Oranges or hands? Oranges are being eaten, that's why oranges is going to be a direct object. And lastly, we have an indirect object. Indirect object will not do the action, it will not receive the action, it will influence the sentence indirectly. Okay? In our sentence, we have hands as our last object in the sentence. Are hands eating oranges? No. Are hands being eaten by people? No. So the last role that it can have is an indirect object, because it's affecting the sentence with its meaning, but not directly, rather indirectly. So hands is going to be an indirect object. And in Russian, whenever we have a subject, we assign it to a nominative case. So subjects will always be in nominative case. Direct objects will be in accusative case. And then for indirect object, we have genitive, dative, instrumental, and prepositional. 4 cases for just one role. Well, it's kind of easy to understand. Okay, subject, nominative. Direct object, accusative. But why do we have 4 different cases for just one role? Wouldn't it be easier if we just simply had one case for one role? Well, that's where we have to go to our next layer in Russian. Indirect objects. We have 4 different cases for just one role, indirect objects. The reason for that is because each case will then add its own meaning to the word, its own kind of flair to the whole word itself, and we'll explain the connection. How does this indirect object connect with the rest of the sentence? It's going to add some meaning to it. So let's start one by one. Genitive case is the most common one, and it has three major usages. Number one is whenever something belongs to someone or its possession. I can say kurtka mamy, mom's sweater or mom's jacket. Mamy here is genitive case because it will explain who the jacket belongs to. So it's possession. It's who does the object belong to. That's the first most common usage of genitive case. Number two is with amounts or quantities. For instance, много воды, a lot of water. Много means a lot, воды means water. So воды is going to be put in genitive case. But wait, много, a lot, воды means water. Where is of in this phrase? Of will be a part of воды. Воды is not really water, it's of water. So genitive case will sometimes, you can use this trick for yourself. Whenever in an English sentence we have of something, most likely of something will be all one thing, genitive case. Genitive case noun. I guess like a shortcut to understanding genitive. That's the second meaning of quantities and amounts. And lastly, third is origin. I can say, я из Новосибирска. I'm from Novosibirsk. Novosibirska is genitive case because it explains my origin, where I came from as a person, okay? And there's more usages to this origin meaning. It's just simply one example. That's genitive. Dative case now. Dative case will be much easier to understand. Dative case represents the recipient of the action. I can say, я купил маме подарок. I bought a gift for mom. Mame here is dative case because she will receive the action of me buying a gift. She's going to be the recipient. I do it for her, right? So she's going to be the recipient. That's why we put her, mame, in dative case. Only one major meaning compared to genitive case that has many more. Next is instrumental. Instrumental, the meaning is in its name, instruments. Typically will be replaced in English with or by. Whenever we're doing something with or by something, or with someone, by someone, we use instrumental in Russian. I can say, я с другом, I am with a friend. So, with a friend, с другом, другом is put in instrumental case. Okay? I can also say, я ем руками, I eat with my hands, or I eat by my hands. Okay? I eat with my hands. My hands are my instrument to me eating. I use them as an instrument to eat something. Let's say I eat oranges, right? With my hands. Hands are my tools here. That's instrumental case. The second meaning of it is going to be to become, to be, or to stay something or someone. I can say, я стану директором. I will become a director. So, директором is instrumental case because I will become that. Okay? That's the two major meanings of instrumental cases. Whether we want to be someone, become someone, or stay someone, or doing an action with or by someone or something. And lastly, we have prepositional case. Again, all is in its name. A prepositional case is used with prepositions. Typically, these three. В, на, and о. В means in, в доме, in a house. Доме here is in a prepositional case. На доме, on the house. На means on, okay? Again, доме is going to put in a prepositional case. And lastly, о means about. О доме, about a house. That's the brief description of each case and what they mean. And we touched on just the main usages of each case. There's more detail to each of them, but for now, it's more than enough for you just for this one layer. Next layer is forms of nouns. We understood why to use cases and when to use them. Now let's understand how to use them. Remember how we had вода being declined to each case, like right here on the screen? Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. Here's a full table. First, we have cases on the left side, 6 cases. Then we have one column for each gender, masculine, feminine, and neuter. So 3 different columns. And this is just for singular nouns. We also have the same thing for plural. Plural masculine, plural feminine, plural neuter. As you can see, we have 6 cases and 6 columns for each gender, for each singular, plural, all the stuff. And you can download this table for free. No emails, no signups, nothing, with the link in the description. Just download it and use it. No strings attached, okay? And one note, you're not supposed to, nobody is expecting you to learn all these endings today. But the best way to learn all these endings is through practice, through exercise. You complete an exercise, look at the table, and you put the right forms in whatever the exercise is. And if you need our help with those exercises, join our Be Fluent camp with the first link in the description. For 2 weeks out of the 8-week intensive, we're gonna cover cases, talk about its theory, when it's used, and also give you the exercises that I'm talking about to help you practice these endings and putting the words in proper cases, test your understanding of them as well. If you need my help, the best way I can help you is through the camp. So join us with the first link in the description, but overall it's our 8-week intensive course. We're going to take care of all the things that you would need to better your Russian. Check out the pricing, the start date, and more details with the first link in the description. Moving on. The next layer of cases is prepositions. Let's understand how prepositions work with cases. If I have a sentence, Я пошел без blank. I went without mom. Which case am I supposed to put mama in here? Instead of going through, okay, genitive means this, is it a subject, direct object, what is this? We can avoid all that thinking and brainstorming by just simply looking at this без. Без means without, and без by default will demand genitive case. So we can say без мамы. Mama is genitive case. Без kind of eliminates all of our thinking process and just simply tells us, okay, after me, use genitive case. And that's what a preposition or any preposition will do in Russian. It will demand a certain case to be used after it. Без is one example where after it is going to be genitive case, but here is a short list of all different prepositions that require a certain case. Once again, there's so much information here in this table. The top 3 for each case will be the most common ones. We handpicked them for you. So learn the top 3 for each case for now. That'll be your first step to understanding this concept of prepositions. So whenever you see one of those prepositions, know that the next word after it will be put in the respective case. Okay, like we saw with this sentence, без required genitive. And let's say для will also require genitive. Other things like that. К will require dative case, etc. So learn those 3 for each of the cases and you should be good to go for now. Next layer is adjectives. How do adjectives work with cases? If I have a phrase, красивый дом, beautiful house. Красивый is an adjective here because it will describe the noun, in this case is дом, a house. So beautiful house, right? If I change the case of дом to, let's say, дом, genitive case, instead of this blank space, which case am I supposed to put the adjective in? We put the adjective that is next to the noun in the same exact case. So, красивого дома. Both of them are now put in genitive case. Adjectives will always copy the case of a noun they're next to. If a noun goes genitive, the adjective has to also go genitive case. If a noun goes dative, then the adjective must follow and also go dative form, etc. And again, the third table for today is right here. Adjective forms for all cases across different genders. Thank God, we only have one plural form for adjectives, but as you can see, one adjective can take on 28 different forms once again. Nobody is expecting you guys to remember this by the end of this video. No one. And now let's actually move on to the final layer of cases, mastering cases. How are you supposed to remember this all the 40 different noun forms, 28 adjective forms, and then the prepositions? How in the world are you, as a newbie in cases, supposed to remember all this? Let's be honest here. It's impossible to memorize all those forms, to keep it up front right here, to always recite the proper ending for each case, regardless of the gender and all of that. You have to have a huge brain for you to do that. So the name of the game is not really to memorize, but to put it in your subconscious, where it comes out automatically. So what are some things that we can derive from that? It will take a long time. a long time. Not 1 month, not 2 months, a year, maybe 2 years. Of consistent exercise, consistent putting the words in proper cases, analyzing them, using the tables that we have shared with you. Once again, they're all free with the link in the description. No emails or nothing. Just download them and use them for your own Russian. And over time of using cases and putting the words in proper cases, you will start to develop this feeling for cases. And so complete the exercises, do your own work, and over time, over years, you'll grow comfortable with them. Don't get mad at yourself for messing up on the endings because it's so hard to remember them all. Just simply take lessons from each mistake that you make. And you should be good to go with all the knowledge that we have learned today, and with your own practice, you will one day master cases. But once again, if you need my help with cases, join our Fluent Camp with this button right here. I hope you join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. You will learn a whole lot, and you will shock yourself with how much progress you will make in just 8 weeks. I'll be waiting for you there at our Fluent Camps.